Good morning to our readers. It's Miss Falco here. We are on our last two lessons for this school year. We are on lesson 22. And today our goal is to read a chapter book. So say it with me. I can read a chapter book. Yay! You guys have done such great work. You've learned all about some prefixes, some suffixes, the tricky I, the tricky C, and strategies for figuring out multisyllabic words. And you have been doing an amazing job. So remember all of those strategies as we start to read some chapter books, okay? So remember, the biggest thing as you're reading, if it doesn't sound right, make sure you stop and go back. Does it sound right? Does it look right? And does it make sense? Is that a word I know? And remember, sometimes we have to try different sounds for the vowels, right? So we learned a lot of strategies and we're going to apply them in a chapter book, okay? So we're going to be taking a look at Ricky Ricotta's Mighty Robot versus the Jurassic Jackrabbit from Jupiter. This book looks awesome. I think this is going to be a really fun book. I think you guys are going to like it. And maybe some of you have already read it. Well, how many of you have read a chapter book? Awesome. So some of you have already read a chapter book. And maybe you already have some favorites, okay? Maybe this is going to be a favorite series for you. So let's take a look at the cover. What do you think this chapter book is going to be about? Yeah, it's going to be about a robot, right? It says Ricky Ricotta's Mighty Robot right in the title. And I see this robot right here. It's going to be about a robot. The title says versus the Jurassic Jackrabbits from Jupiter. Who can say that 3 times fast? Jurassic Jackrabbits from Jupiter. That's really hard. So I wonder who those characters are. Well, I see there's 3 characters, right? It says the Jurassic Jackrabbits. Jurassic means really long time ago. It's a time period, millions of years ago, right? So probably really old. And a jackrabbit is a type of hare, right? Or a bunny that has really long ears. And take a look at these really old, they almost look like dinosaurs with really long hair or ears. And look at their teeth, right? Like bunny teeth. So those must be the jackrabbits. And they're from Jupiter. So Jupiter's another planet, okay? Not from Earth. So maybe this robot is going to fight these Jurassic jackrabbits. I think that's what it's going to be about. And this here, this must be Ricky Ricotta. And he looks kind of scared, doesn't he? Look at his eyes kind of looking off to the side. He looks like he might be kind of scared. And he's standing on that mighty robot's shoulder. So let's take a look. Let's look at the text features to learn more about it. So we've looked at the cover, right? So now we're going to look at the back. So it's always important when we're reading a chapter book, not only to look at the front cover, look at the picture, but also we read the title, we're going to look at the back. And usually there's a little tiny little paragraph on the back that tells you all about the book, kind of like a summary of what this book is going to be about. So let's read it together. Ricky Ricotta and his mighty robot are ready for the best day ever. Today is Ricky's birthday, and Ricky's parents have a surprise for him. They're all going to the museum to see dinosaurs. Hooray! And Ricky's cousin Lucy is coming with them. Boo. At the museum, there's another surprise in store. General Jackrabbit, an evil genius from Jupiter, has created 3 Jurassic Jackrabbits to help him take over Earth. Now it's up to Ricky and his robot to beat the big bad bunnies. So it's Ricky's birthday and they're going to the museum. And it sounds like there's going to be a battle between Ricky and his robot and the big bad bunnies. So this back cover kind of gives us a quick synopsis of what this book is going to be about. Let's flip it over, right? Let's look on the inside. So here's the cover. Then inside, here's the title page. Tells you who wrote the story, Dave Pilkey, and art is by Dan Santat. Okay, so remember, art is by, that's another word for illustrator, right? Person who drew the pictures. And this is a chapter book. This is actually called a transitional chapter book. Why do you think it's called transitional? Transitional. Well, if you take a look, it has a lot of chapters, right? If you kind of just flip through it, what do you notice about this chapter book? Well, I noticed there's a lot of chapters and they're kind of small, right? The chapters aren't very long and it has a lot of pictures, okay? So because it has a lot of pictures and a lot of short chapters, it's called a transitional chapter book. And soon as a 2R reader heading into the white level, you have to do the work of the illustrator on your own. That means as you're reading harder and harder chapter books, there's going to be less pictures. So it's your job to imagine, right? To think about, draw those pictures in your mind based on how the author has described things and told the story. You need to do all of that illustrating or drawing of the pictures in your head, okay? So this is transitional because there's a lot of pictures still, okay? This is a great book. When we come back to school, this series of books, you should try to maybe take out and put one in your blue reading bag because these have what are called flip-o-ramas. What is a flip-o-rama? Well, if we turn to these back pages, it shows you, this is a flip-o-rama. So basically, if you put your hand here and your thumb on this corner, it tells you exactly where to put your thumb. When you turn this page fast to the next page, it looks like the pictures are moving, right? And kind of like an animation, right? And you can add your own sound effects. So here, this must be Mighty Robot, and looks like he might be ready to battle one of those Jurassic jackrabbits. So let's see what happens. Ooh, kapow, kapow. So the pictures kind of come to life, right? That's called an animation, when the pictures come to life. If you've ever seen animated films, right? They look like this. They look like pictures, but then they start to move and sound and words are added to the pictures and then we watch the movie, right? That's called animation. So this has a lot of pages that have animations or called flip-o-ramas that you get to play with, do your own sound effects. Okay, so go back to the chapters. There's 14 short chapters. Okay, so this will be short, but again, as a 2R reader heading into white, you're going to start to read more and more longer chapter books. Okay, and also, like I said, this is a series. Ricky Ricotta's Mighty Robot is a series of books. Well, what is a series? Well, we talked about series when we did our animal unit, and it's usually the series has the same character or characters. And usually the series, they follow one after another. So typically you'd want to read them in order because the story progressively gets longer and sometimes it adds to the previous story. Sometimes it's the same characters. It might not be a continuation of the story. Maybe there's a different problem and solution each chapter book in the series. And sometimes they introduce some new characters, right, in each series. But typically the main character stays the same. Or in this case, main characters, Ricky Ricotta and his Mighty Robot, okay? So this is a great series. There's more books. If you look in the back, it shows you the other books, okay? So when we're done with this chapter book, if you're ready for more, look at all of these different books in the series. So maybe you might want to read about Ricky Ricotta's Mighty Robot versus the mutant mosquitoes from Mercury. I wonder what that one's going to be about. Mercury, that's another planet. So maybe this is going to be about this robot versus some different animals, right? From a different planet. How cool, right? So again, it's got the same main characters, different problems and solutions. Okay, that's a series. All right, let's go back. I want to show you. So we are going to be reading chapter 1 today together. And as we're reading chapter 1 together, I want you to think about the story elements. Remember, who are the characters in the story? Where is the setting? That means, where does the story take place? And what is the problem in the story? Okay, so I want you to be thinking about those 3 things as I'm reading chapter 1 to you. And then we're going to discuss chapter 1, and then your job is to read chapter 2. And you're going to answer some questions, take notes and answer questions, okay? You're going to be doing a retelling, all right? So again, you're looking for the main characters, which we kind of already figured out from our cover, right? And the summary on the back of the book. The setting, where does it take place? And the problem. What is the problem in the story? All right, as we get into chapter 1, I'm going to show you the pictures underneath my Elmo. Here we go. Chapter 1. So Ricky Ricotta's Mighty Robot versus the Jurassic Rabbits from Jupiter. Again, see if you can say that 3 times fast. It's a tongue twister, right? It's hard to say. Chapter 1, birthday. So here's Ricky. One fine morning, Ricky Ricotta woke up and looked at his calendar. "It's my birthday," he shouted. "Hooray!" Ricky ran outside in his pajamas and woke up his mighty robot. "It's my birthday! It's my birthday!" shouted Ricky. "This is going to be the best day ever." First, Ricky's parents cooked peanut butter pancakes for breakfast. Then Ricky's parents gave him a present. "Wow, a new bike," said Ricky. "Thank you, Mom and Dad." Ricky's mighty robot did not have a present for Ricky, but he had an idea. The mighty robot flew high into the air and spelled out a birthday message in the sky. "Thank you, mighty robot," said Ricky. "Happy birthday, Ricky." Ricky and his mighty robot brushed their teeth and got ready to go to the museum. "We are going to see real dinosaur skeletons today," said Ricky. "This will be the best day ever." "We have one more surprise for you," said Ricky's mother. "Your cousin Lucy is coming with us." "Oh no," cried Ricky, "not Lucy. She is a little pest." "She doesn't mean to be a pest," said Ricky's father. "She is just lonely. She has no friends of her own." "Now, you boys be nice to her," said Ricky's mother. "Rats," said Ricky. "This is going to be the worst day ever." So that is the end of chapter 1. So let's go back to our questions. So, characters in the story. Who's the main character? Well, we learned on the very first page, Ricky Ricotta, right? His name is Ricky. He's the main character because he's on page 1. They're introducing Ricky. So I know that. He's right at the beginning. He's the first character that they talk about. Plus he's on the front cover, okay? So what is Ricky like and what in the text makes you think that? Well, if we go back to the text, let's take a look. So here is Ricky. If you look, he is, at the end of each sentence, he seems kind of excited, right? I think he's a pretty happy guy. He's got a smile on his face. In each picture, he looks maybe excited. It's his birthday. I'd be excited too, right? Look at this face here. Ah, he's so happy. It's his birthday. He's excited. I also know he's excited because at the end of each sentence, there's an exclamation. When he's talking, there's an exclamation, right? So he's happy and he's excited, right? Except at the end of the chapter, look at his face here. He kind of changes, right? He kind of gets disappointed. He goes from this is going to be the best day ever to the worst day ever. Look at his face here. Ah! Yeah, he's kind of like, this is not going to be a great day now because his cousin's coming with him, right? Into the museum. So let's go back. So we learned all about Ricky. He has a mom and a dad and his mighty robot, right? A robot is not real. It's just, it's a robot, right? It's mechanical, right? Setting. Well, where does this take place and how do you know? What don't we know about where the setting is taking place? And what decisions did the illustrator make about the setting? So if we go back, we do know that this is taking place on Earth. How do I know that? Well, it says on the back cover, when we read our summary, it said the evil genius from Jupiter has created 3 Jurassic jackrabbits to help him take over Earth. So we do know, and it looks like Earth, right? It kind of looks like maybe like where we live. If you go back into our story, looks like it might be taking place in a house. There's a bookshelf and a lamp, things you might see in your own home, right? And if you look closely, this might be Ricky's house, right? Like I said, there's a lamp, there's a bookshelf, right? Maybe inside his house, I see some trees, and it kind of looks like far off in the distance, maybe some tall buildings, right? So maybe he lives in the suburbs, since there's trees and buildings that are far away, just on the outskirts of a city, right? So that's a suburb. Maybe he lives in a suburb. He's got a bicycle, right? So he could be living in the suburbs. There we see, again, a little bit of the house. That kind of looks like a house that might be in the suburbs. And there's some trees here. So I would say it's a suburb. Okay, so we know it takes place on Earth. It said so on the summary in the back. We saw a very similar suburb, like maybe where some of us live, in the suburb or on the outskirts of the city. And we saw takes place in his house. Well, you illustrate, maybe it takes place during the day, right? It's light out and it says that they just woke up, okay? But the author didn't really tell us what time period this is. It really is, it's hard to tell because this is a story about a mouse and a robot, right? So it's kind of hard from the picture to tell what time period this is from, okay? So they're really not showing us too much so far about the setting, other than it's at Ricky's house and maybe he's in the suburbs. Okay, that's what I figured out from looking at the pictures. Let's go back. Next, we are going to need to look at, we looked at the characters and the setting. Now we need to look at the plot. Move Miss Falco over here out of the way so you can see the dinosaur. Retell the first chapter. Who did what, when, where, and why? Well, Ricky woke up, it's his birthday. He ran outside and he shouted, it's my birthday, but his robot forgot, right? He said it's gonna be the best day ever, but the robot forgot, but he said, that's all right. You know, he got the new bike from mom and dad. They introduced mom and dad, but since the robot forgot a present, he didn't have one, he just wrote happy birthday, Ricky, in the sky, right? With his jet propelled pack here on its back, like a jet maybe, right? So he wrote happy birthday, Ricky. And we know Ricky's going to go to the museum, dinosaur museum, with his parents. But we also learned that there's a problem, right? What's the problem in the story? Yes, you got it. You're going to the museum. Ricky was going to have the best day ever, but now he found out his cousin Lucy is coming with them, and she is a pest. Well, that's a problem, right? We know a pest, somebody that bugs you, we call them a pest, right? Sometimes you might say your little brother and sister is being a pest. That means they're bothering you. So he looks like he's upset, maybe frustrated because Lucy's coming with him and she might bother him. And it's his birthday. Does he want to be bothered on his birthday? No, he wants to have a good time. And so now he's like, oh, this is going to be the worst day ever. because we gotta bring Lucy with us. What do you think might happen next in the story? Let's make a prediction. What do you think might happen next? Well, yeah, there might be, they're gonna go to the dinosaur museum, right? So there might be a problem when they get there, right? Because we heard that those Jurassic jackrabbits are probably gonna have a battle with the mighty robot. So maybe they're gonna go to the dinosaur museum and there's gonna be a problem when they get there, right? And Ricky thinks now this is gonna be his worst day ever. So there's probably gonna be some sort of problem when they get to the dinosaur museum. Maybe the battle's gonna happen there, right? It says chapter 2, General Jackrabbit. And I see another planet there. Maybe it's gonna go to another planet, right? If you're taking a sneak peek at chapter 2, maybe they're gonna go to another planet. Do you want to read the next chapter? Do you want to find out if they go to another planet? Do you want to find out if Mighty Robot has a battle with those Jurassic jackrabbits? I want to know why Ricky says it's going to be the worst day ever. That makes me want to read the next chapter of this book. Are you as excited as I am? I'm really excited. Your job today is to read chapter 2, okay? Please make sure you open up your notebook to a fresh page and label it 6-1-20. This is lesson 22. Again, you're gonna read chapter 2 and you're gonna retell in your own words all about chapter 2. What was the problem that was presented and how does Ricky respond to that problem? So what does he do or what does he say? And what do you predict is going to happen next? So whatever we find out in chapter 2, what do you think might happen next in the next chapter? Remember, chapters build upon each other, right? So what we've learned so far is that it's Ricky's birthday. They're going to the museum with the robot and his parents, and now his cousin Lucy's coming along. Now Ricky thinks it's no longer going to be the best day ever. It's going to be the worst day ever. I want to know why. Let's look at chapter 2. Make sure that you pause to read on each page. Pause the page, the video, so you can read it. And I want you to be thinking about what is the problem and how does Ricky respond. Okay? You're going to answer these questions at the end. So here we go. Here's chapter 2. All right, awesome job, readers. You did such a great job reading that chapter. Remember, these chapters are really short, right? Because it's called a transitional chapter book. There's a lot of pictures for you to look at so that you can make some inferences. Remember, an inference, a guess, based on what we see in the pictures and what we're reading in the text, right? The words that the author puts on the page, okay? Go ahead, I want you to retell chapter 2 in your own words in your notebook. What was the problem that was presented and how did Ricky respond? What do you predict is going to happen next and why? What do you predict is going to happen next and why? Please make sure you upload a photo to your portfolio so your teacher can read it. And on Wednesday, we're going to go into chapter 3 and chapter 4. Okay, so can't wait to see what happens with Ricky Ricotta and his mighty robot. You guys have a great day, and we will see you back here on Wednesday.